Good morning and warm welcome to all participants joining from all over Northwest Europe and beyond. I am Vinicius Valente, Communication Officer at the Interreg Northwest Europe Joint Secretariat, and it's my pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to the second online networking event organized by the Interreg Northwest Europe Programme. This time we'll tackle the theme of an innovative and inclusive Northwest Europe, a very important theme to our territory. And it's great to see the relevance of the theme reflected on the number of participants today. We had over 450 registered participants. So thanks very much for joining us today. Today's event is threefold. It's first an opportunity for you to learn more about the impact of our projects. We're going to have some very interesting insights from the projects in the sessions throughout the morning. Then, of course, this is an online networking event. So we intend to provide you with a platform to network with other stakeholders in your field. And third, it's also our objective that you know more about the future of the Interreg Northwest Europe program, and we're going to give you some insights of the most up-to-date status of the negotiations. We'll be together for 2 hours and a half, so until 12:30. We have a very varied program, so please make sure to stay with us until the end. We'll start first with a 40-minute plenary session, during which our speakers will discuss our program's achievements and perspectives. The plenary will happen in a brief moment in this very platform where you're connected right now. So really for the platform, there is no need to go anywhere else, just stay connected here with us. But then once the plenary is over, from 10:40 on, you'll be able to join the thematic session you register for. The thematic sessions will happen via Zoom. And I'll explain how to join the session at the end of this plenary. Still about the thematic sessions, the first part of those thematic sessions will be dedicated to presentations. So they divided in two. First part dedicated to presentations. You'll be in the very good hands of my colleagues who will give you some great insights from the program on the topic covered in each session. And then on the second part, after these presentations, you'll be invited to join breakout rooms. So meeting in parallel to meet with your peers in a smaller setting. I have to say that all parts of the event, except of these last breakout rooms that I just mentioned, will be recorded. So please keep that in mind. I just have to finish with some housekeeping before we begin. Of course, interacting with you is very important to us, and you're very welcome to send us your questions via Slido during our panel discussion. In order to do so, you just have to open another tab on your browser or use another device that you happen to have available with you and type slide.do or slido.com and use the code for the event to join us. The code for the event is the one you see on the screen right now, NWE 22 June. So keep this code in mind. We're going to be using that for questions, and you can also like each other people's questions. But first, on Slido, we actually have a question for you. I'm going to ask you right now to go already on Slido using the code that appeared, NWE 22 June, and answer the following questions for us, which is, we're interested to know what is the main reason that made you join us today. I just presented you the main objectives we have for this morning, so maybe you're more interested in the networking part, on getting to more information on the future. So yes, please go ahead. Okay, networking coming big. That's good to know. 4 people connecting, still on networking. That's great. That's one of our main goals for today. I see other, meet colleagues, networking again, discover, future program coming up now. That's great. All part of the objectives. Okay, 34 answers. Share expertise, information, call updates, future program. Okay, 52 coming. That's great to see you're there. Networking and future programs still coming big. General information, sharing experiences, keen to collaborate. Fantastic. Okay, 80 people now registering. That's great. Okay, I think we can move forward. Great to know that you were there with us. As I said, keep connected on Slido, as we are still using this platform for questions. So my recommendation is that you just leave it open on your tab or with your phone. And when time comes, just ask for questions anytime, and we'll take some time to ask these later. Okay, so thank you. I can see you're ready to start. We have 3 speakers with us today to discuss Interreg's Northwest Europe's achievements in 2014 to 2020 and its perspectives for 2021-2027. I would first like to introduce our first speaker, Amandine Dupont, who is a European Cooperation Team Leader in the Europe Department of the Région Hauts-de-France. The Région Hauts-de-France, which is, of course, the managing authority of the Northwest Europe Programme. Welcome, Amandine. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Vinicius.
Thank you. Okay, then we also have with us Térence Lecoq, working for Wallonie-Bruxelles International. Térence is representing Belgium today, which this year it's the member states chairing the program. So Térence, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
And last but certainly not least, my colleague Mathieu Mori, who is Interreg Northwest Europe's Program Director, taking part in the discussion as well. Mathieu, welcome to you too.
Thank you, Vinicius. Good morning, everyone.
Okay, nice to see the 3 speakers already on the screen. Just before kicking off the panel, we actually have some inspired words to share with you, as we actually had the pleasure to receive an introductory message from directly from the European Commissioner for Innovation, Research, Culture, Education and Youth, Ms. Mariya Gabriel. So let's hear what the Commissioner Gabriel has to tell us.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure for me to be here with you today at this Northwest Europe's Innovation and Inclusiveness event. Allow me to start by providing a glimpse of the innovation and startup situation in Europe. On the one hand, Europe has plentiful of talent, ideas and startups, but it has difficulties in the scale-up phase, with the US having 4 times as many per inhabitant and with China was pressing ahead. At the same time, European investments in venture capital are 4 to 5 times lower than in the US, and Europe underperforms in terms of new unicorn companies worth over 1 billion euro. These data refers mainly to digital startups. On the other hand, we need to recognize that digital startups are part of the 3rd wave of innovation, while we are already on the 4th wave of innovation led by deep tech startups. And in the area of deep tech startups, Europe is at the front now. This latest in a wave of innovation is closely linked to science and not easily replicable innovation. And science is precisely one of the European strengths. Therefore, while the situation in digital startups is not brilliant, the future situation of Europe in deep tech startups really looks brilliant. Both types of startups share 2 main features. They both need a strong innovation ecosystem, and they both rely on risk capital. On the ecosystem side, programs like the Interreg Northwest Europe can have a decisive contribution in building an innovation ecosystem across the regions, bringing together startups, investors, accelerators, and universities. Your work can be reinforced if you work in cooperation with the European Institute of Innovation and Technology and with the European Innovation Ecosystems Programme, both in Horizon Europe. On the financial side, we need to adapt the way we provide financial support from the public sphere. We need to move from non-refundable grants that are excellent for research into blended finance that combine grant and equity investment, as the blended instrument is most efficient way to support deep tech startups in their growth phase. That is why the European Innovation Council and the European Institute of Innovation and Technology are undertaking equity investments with the intention of becoming patient investors that will not force the founder to sell the company too early and at the same time to crowd in external investors. To conclude, I would like to commend the work you are already doing and invite you to think on how the work you are doing could contribute to build a true pan-European innovation ecosystem where no region is lagging behind, and with a strong focus on deep tech startup and increasing territorial innovation cohesion and women representation as founders of startups. You can count on my support for this joint endeavor. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you to Commissioner Mariya Gabriel. We definitely count on your support. The Commissioner was really looking forward to being with us live today, but had unfortunately to send her apologies at the last minute due to unforeseen issues. But we're still very happy to be introduced by a message from her. And I will now kick off the panel with a question to you, Mathieu. So today we're covering the themes of innovation and inclusiveness in Northwest Europe, which are well covered in the current program. I think particularly the topic of social innovation is expected to make a relevant impact in our territory. So taking a look back, what can you tell us about our program's achievements since 2014, the beginning of this program period, and reasons to be proud of what has been accomplished so far?
Thank you, Vinicius, and thank you to Commissioner Mariya Gabriel for putting today's discussion in a more global context and reminding us of the links and complementarities that exist between EU programs. Thank you to my fellow panelists and to you all for joining us today. The Northwest of Europe hosts many regions with an above-average index of research and development intensity, research and development expenditure, and innovation performance. In short, Northwest Europe is a territory with many innovation leaders. However, this potential is highly geographically concentrated, creating a pronounced territorial divide. Moreover, there is still a need to create a critical mass, to facilitate the flow of knowledge among innovation stakeholders, and to promote economic relations between knowledge clusters in the Northwest Europe area. For this reason, Interreg Northwest Europe has set up innovation as one of its three main priorities in the current program. Within the priority on innovation, we have defined three types of actions to address each specific challenge that our territory has been facing. Firstly, building the capacity of regions and territories to tackle the territorial gap and the differences in innovation performance among regions. Secondly, improving the competitiveness of enterprises to bring new products, services, or processes closer to the market by supporting the flow of knowledge and collaboration among innovation stakeholders. Finally, social innovation is also addressed. Specific attention is paid to communities under pressure, excluded population, or population at risk of exclusion. Out of more than 100 projects financed by Interreg Northwest Europe, 44 were dedicated to innovation from a wide range of sectors related to innovation and inclusiveness. Looking at all the projects we are currently funding, some innovation topics have emerged within Northwest Europe, projects tackling similar challenges, and where transnational cooperation has had a specific added value. For example, on e-health, Industry 4.0, agri-food, digitalization, smart cities, or social innovation. Next slide, please. Here are a few concrete illustrations of what we expect these projects to deliver on. Our program has been supporting nearly 4,000 enterprises. For example, the Sunsi project, which aims at developing a network of social entrepreneurship hubs across Northwest Europe, has offered support to 200 social businesses since its launch. It has also supported 70 social businesses to introduce new to the firm products or services, and 300 social entrepreneurs have benefited from hub services set up by Sunsi. Our program has created nearly 1,000 jobs. For example, in the Right Weight project, the objective of this project is to deliver new sustainable and affordable lightweight solutions in the automotive and aviation sectors. This cross-sectorial collaboration project has generated 100 jobs in 2021, and an additional 50 should be created in 2022. Almost 56,000 citizens have benefited from the outcome of our social innovation projects. For example, the Imagine project, Inclusive Market Agriculture Incubator in Northwest Europe. As of today, 88 not in education, employment or training young people have benefited from the Imagine methodology and have found a job in the horticultural, urban agriculture, or short food supply chain sectors. All those figures mean something. They mean something for those directly and positively impacted, and they mean something for our territory. But I would also like to stress something that is less easy to capture by indicators and figures. That is the amazing wealth of cooperation experience that stakeholders involved in those projects will have gathered, as well as the amazing number of ideas, concepts that will have been given a chance to be tested, improved, and eventually implemented in different parts of Europe. This is where Interreg makes a difference. Events like the one today are also occasions to remember everything we achieved together. So let's allow ourselves to be reasonably proud of what we help initiate every year, and let's continue our joint good work in the next programming period. Thank you very much. Vinicius, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mathieu, for this overview. I just have a short reminder for participants. We'll be taking questions at the end of the plenary, so after all the interventions of the three panelists. So yes, don't be shy. We'll take your go ahead, skip on Slido, and we'll be taking our questions at the end. About Mathieu's presentation, I must say those impressive results are very much the outcome of cooperation between different partners throughout the territory. And of course, since cooperation is at the heart of EU cohesion policy, I'd like to ask you now, Amandine, to what extent has the program contributed to strengthening cohesion in Northwest Europe?
Thank you very much, Vinicius. And again, welcome to everybody. This is indeed the aim of the cohesion policy and Interreg programs such as Northwest Europe to reduce disparities and improve the cohesion between the different regions of the EU. And overall, as you can see on this first map, the territorial coverage of our program is good, with projects involving partners from almost all regions of Northwest Europe. Strong cooperation, exchange of ideas and knowledge is therefore expected between these stakeholders, which is key to reducing disparities between regions and strengthening cohesion in Northwest Europe territories. Nevertheless, some regions, for instance, the Lille-Amsterdam-Dortmund triangle, island regions with big cities, continue since the previous program in 2007-2013 to be very well represented, while others are a bit less involved. So a continued effort will need to be made in the future to get as much as possible a fully balanced repartition of partners and funding throughout Northwest Europe. And it's also because some disparities may also remain inside the regions themselves, and thus are not here appearing on the map. Also not appearing on the map, but worth mentioning, we have a balanced repartition between public and private partners. It was also an objective of the program to involve new target groups, such as SMEs, for instance. And the balanced repartition per type of stakeholder as well. We have 30% of them coming from higher education and research, 24% SMEs, enterprises, 16% public authorities. So if we look now at the next map, on the next slide, the repartition per budget is similar to that of partners, with a few differences because of very active partners in some specific regions. For example, Scotland, with a strong involvement on marine energy topics. Thus, these maps show that the Northwest Europe Programme has contributed to strengthen cohesion between the regions of our programme by creating a framework where a large variety of stakeholders can work, exchange, and cooperate together over the whole Northwest Europe area. However, good territorial coverage, balanced distribution of funds are just starting points. Projects will now have to focus on their long-term effects to ensure the durability of results for a strong impact on strengthening cohesion. You may know, if you're familiar with Northwest Europe projects, that there is a compulsory work package dedicated to long-term effects in every project. And worth mentioning as well, the program will meet the projects 18 months after their end to observe those effects. Finally, I can also mention an initiative that has been launched by the program over the past 2 years, 2 calls for capitalization projects based on existing projects have been launched. This should also enhance the impact of projects and their results beyond the territorial coverage seen on the maps to other territories, other stakeholders, other economic sectors. So this, Vinicius, will also definitely contribute to reinforce the impact of the program and thus cohesion in the area. Thank you.
Yes, that's for sure. Thanks very much, Amandine, for commenting upon these 2 maps. Yes, I'll keep with you, Amandine. So speaking now about the Northwest Europe's territorial coverage. We've had quite some solid changes in the past few years, and we're very curious to find out more on which geographical area the next program will cover. Could you, Amandine, tell us a little bit more about the shape of Northwest Europe for the period of 2021 to 2027, and maybe how it differs from the current one?
Yes. So we will show you a map also to illustrate this. So what you can see on this map, in blue, you can see the regions involved in the current program that will also be part of the next one. Ireland, another part of France, all of Belgium, Luxembourg, western part of Germany, Netherlands, and also Switzerland. We are very glad that Switzerland stays in the program and sees the interest and the need for future cooperation in Northwest Europe area. In red, you see the 6 new regions from the Netherlands and Germany that we are also very happy to welcome in the Northwest Europe area. Regarding the 3 new regions from the Netherlands, they are Groningen, Friesland, Drenthe. And there are common themes and challenges for our future cooperations that could center around, for instance, agricultural topics, but also water technology, bioeconomy, or blue economy. For the 3 new regions from Germany, which are Bremen, Leine-Weser, Weser-Ems. Those regions share a lot of characteristics that we can find in the current Northwest Europe area, and also common challenges, among which climate change issue, but also the securization of the leading role of the area as a driver for innovation in Europe in the future. The other difference with the current program that must also be mentioned is that the UK government has announced that it will not be pursuing participation in European territorial cooperation programs in 2021-2027, and among which Interreg Northwest Europe Programme. We can also mention that the Northwest Europe Programme partly overlaps with other cooperation programs. This is a situation that already exists in the current period and will remain for the future, sometimes be even a bit bigger. So discussions are ongoing with other transnational programs, for instance, to see how cross-program collaboration can be intensified. But there will definitely be synergies and complementarities between the programs that can be turned into opportunities for stakeholders. Also because each area keeps its specificities. So to conclude, indeed, the new Northwest Europe territory has its own problematics in line with its biggest assets and challenges. So there will be new opportunities for stakeholders to cooperate in the Northwest Europe territory, and we hope that they will build strong partnerships in all parts of this new Northwest Europe geography. Thank you.
Thank you, Amandine, and welcome very much indeed to the 6 new regions from Germany and the Netherlands joining the program. Yeah, now 2021 has actually already started, and so has the process to design the next Interreg Northwest Europe program. Térence, now I come to you. Could you share with us the current status on the preparations and how innovation and inclusiveness will be covered in the next program, as they are the topics of today's event?
Thank you, Vinicius. So the future program is currently being prepared. This designing process started last summer with the setting of a task force, bringing together all the program bodies. Up to now, 11 meetings have been organized, plus many working groups meetings. Between February and March, a consultation was open in order to take into account the expectations of all the stakeholders in the elaboration of this program. And we received more than 400 contributions, and the feedback of this consultation is currently being taken up by the task force. The report of the consultation will be published on the website once the final decisions on all the priorities and types of actions are taken by the task force. Our objective is to submit the first draft of the program to the European Commission in the coming months, so we can receive the feedback from the Commission by the beginning of next year, and we are expecting to launch the first call for proposals next spring. Now, next slide, please. So now if we look at the thematic orientations and the types of projects, what I will present here all remains to be confirmed, given that the discussions are still ongoing, especially regarding the innovation-related aspects. It is, however, possible to provide a general overview on the main themes. It is also already quite clear at this stage that the overall focus of the program will be to promote a green, smart, and just transition for all Northwest Europe territories, with the aim to support a balanced development and make all regions more resilient. We are speaking today about an innovative and inclusive Northwest Europe. These aspects will be included in a more or less direct way through the 5 priorities that are foreseen. You can see on the slides the 3 first priorities, and for each of them, the specific objectives. Innovative technologies, solutions, products, services, or processes could find a place in the topics covered by these 3 first priorities, and in particular through some objectives such as promoting climate change adaptation, reducing heat stress in cities or rural areas, enhancing biodiversity, improving water management, promoting energy efficiency or renewable energies, or enabling a transition to a circular economy. Inclusiveness will be particularly present in the second priority, with a focus on avoiding energy poverty, but also in the 2 others, given citizen engagement will remain an important topic for the future program. Next slide, please. So the 4th priority will be mainly focusing on innovation that enables a balanced territorial development and economic resilience. But the discussions between member states are still ongoing, and the more specific orientations and types of actions under this priority are not defined yet. And for the 5th priority, it has a very strong focus on innovation and inclusiveness as well, as it also aims for balanced territorial development through employment, health and care, as well as 2 topics totally new to the program, tourism and culture. But beyond these headlines, through all the priorities and specific objectives, the Northwest Europe program will be aiming to support projects that are involving different stakeholders through multi-level governance models or a quadruple helix approach, bringing together enterprise, research and education centers, the public sector and the civil society. It will be aiming to support projects that are increasing stakeholder capacity to demonstrate, transfer and implement new or innovative integrated solutions. It will be aiming to support projects that are contributing to behavioral change at societal level, from citizens to industries. And I will finish with a word on the processes. The development phase, the application procedure, and the assessment criteria are currently being reviewed, and there might be differences with the current program, maybe some major ones. So applicants will need to be careful to take those changes into account when applying during the next programming period. But for these aspects, also the thematic aspects, in particular the fourth priority, as I explained, the discussions are still ongoing. So I'm inviting you to stay tuned and to sign up for the updates on the Northwest Europe website if you haven't yet. Thank you, and I give back the floor to you, Vinicius.
Thank you very much, Térence, for sharing with our participants the most up-to-date information on the future. As Térence said, the negotiations are still ongoing, and I built on his invitations to everyone to please check our website, where we really try to put the most updated information there as the negotiations evolve. Okay, so I think we're finished with our interventions, and it's now time for some questions from the audience. Once again, I encourage you to go on Slido and using the code NWE 22June to ask questions. It's your time to shine. So let's see what you have. I see the first one here. How important will innovation be in the next Interreg Northwest Europe? Maybe Térence, you could take that one.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, as I was explaining, innovation will be a topic that will be covered through the 5 priorities of the program. So it's definitely an important topic, but it will be covered more particularly through some aspects, as I was explaining in the 3 first topic, innovation related to, for example, global warming issues or energy issues, but also in the last 2 priorities with a pillar focused on economic development and territorial development, and in the last one as well with maybe a more social innovation. But so yeah, that's to be short, it's a very important topic and covered transversally through cross-cutting topic. Yeah,
certainly. I would also invite all the other speakers, Mathieu and Amandine, if you want to comment on the question as well, do not hesitate. I don't, yeah. Otherwise, I'll take another question here, maybe a second one on the budget for the next program. Maybe to you, Mathieu. What will the budget of the next program be?
Thank you for that question. Indeed, it's an important question. As you can imagine, since the United Kingdom, which was a very important partner to the program, is leaving territorial cooperation, our budget will decrease. It will have an impact on our budget, but at the same time, it will also have an impact on the number of partners that will decrease. So it doesn't mean that you will get less money when you are involved in a project. We haven't a definitive budget at the moment. We are missing a country to give the latest budget, so we are close to find the final figures, but we are just not there yet. It will be less than currently, but it will still be a significant budget to make a difference. From what I understand from talking to other transnational programs, Northwest Europe will remain among the top programs with the highest budgets. So no need to worry too much about that. And as soon as we have figures, we will, of course, share them with you.
Okay, thanks very much, Mathieu. I think there's maybe a second question to you again about the co-funding rates. Will the funding rate rise or stay at 60%?
The decision has been to remain at 60%, so no change on that front. All member states thought that it was an appropriate rate, and from the feedback we received from stakeholders, we seem to think that it's the rate that most stakeholders feel comfortable with as well. So it will remain 60%.
Okay, so no changes of the co-funding rate. Maybe a question to Amandine now. Can regions from outside of Northwest Europe participate in the future program?
Oh, the answer is yes. It was already the case for this period. You may have seen on the maps that we presented before that we already have project partners from other countries outside the Northwest Europe area, Spain, for instance. And for the future, there will still be this possibility to have partners from outside the area. Of course, the idea is that they will have to bring specific expertise to have an impact on the Northwest Europe area. Of course, that's as it was already the case for this period, it will still remain for the next one.
Okay, so expertise is the key. Maybe if you have a question again on the budget, maybe I'll ask that to you, but again, if Mathieu or Térence would like to comment that as well, please feel free. The question is, how is the budget divided between the priorities and the specific objectives?
I think it's very difficult to comment at this time, since we haven't decided definitely on the different priorities. The negotiations are not over, so I don't think we can share anything on that at the moment.
No problem. Well, as I said earlier, negotiations are ongoing, so as soon as we have updates on that, they will be published on the website.
Maybe one thing, sorry, Vinicius, that can be added is that when we are talking about the level of funding per priorities, we are of course making sure that the level is relevant per priority, so that something meaningful can actually be done per priorities. So applicants shouldn't worry too much about that. Member states are taking that into account, and so that's not going to be a problem.
Thank you to our participants for their interest and numerous questions. I can definitely add that if we could not answer your question here during the panel, you still have some more detailed information in the thematic sessions that are about to start. Again, do not hesitate to visit our future program website for all the up-to-date content concerning the next program period for 2021-2027, as you can see now on the screen.